that's pretty cool. I'm in a comic book. So I don't know if you guys know, but we're going to be having a Day of the Dead event October the 30th on Stockdale Highway in California to bring awareness to end ICE detention centers here in Kern County. There are 4 detention centers here in Kern County already. And they're already doing some heinous things to our brothers and sisters out there. And I know, you're free. And you don't have to go out there to the fields. And you work in a AC unit, cold facility. You have a nice house, nice bed, you're sleeping in it, you feel real good about yourself. But what about those poor people that are lying down on the floor? Concrete, mind you, with silver freaking blankets. The SPCA treats their animals better than they do. It's ridiculous. It's freaking ridiculous. I don't understand why people are doing these things. I don't understand why people are just, yeah, that's how they are. Just like that. The It's not making nobody feel, oh, that one doesn't do it. Oh, it did it. No one is feeling surprised about the ICE detention centers. I don't understand it. A black dude gets murdered in front of everyone on public television nationwide. If this isn't from God, then I don't know what is. You have all of these people that are indigenous, that are in these ICE detention centers. It's almost like Moses needs to part the Red Sea. They're making women in these detention centers, they're like making these women in detention centers just have hysterectomies. They're forcing them to have hysterectomies. It's ridiculous. How do you force someone to have a hysterectomy? Oh, I see. Because you don't want any new kids in these detention centers. But it's okay to have all of these little kids in these detention centers like they're criminals and stuff. And they're not. They're not freaking criminals. Yeah, you let it slide for a long time and you had all of these people coming here illegally. You didn't tell people about that, how you had a deal with China and you had them all come over here and they were undocumented. But when they didn't look like a certain person, you didn't mess with them when they were making your cars and stuff before you learned about offshore accounts and offshore buildings to do your business and take it over there because you didn't want that to bite you in the butt. And it did. Then you have this taxation with China that it just slipped right under. It slipped right under. Think about it. Riddle me this. In 1992, there were, and I'm fudging the numbers, but it's still up there, 1.2 million Asians that were undocumented in 1992 that came here under false pretenses from our U.S. government to say that they were able to work. And then once their visas were expired, they were stuck here because guess what? The United States government was the ones that sought out for them, that petitioned for them. And then you get this tax, and they stop selling stuff for, I think it's like 4.2% taxation, and that's when everything was stopped from China. And this was way before COVID. It just took COVID to get here with all of the purchasing stuff. But why would they tax them 4.2 on goods? Maybe because they were trying to soften the blow with all of their undocumented people that were living here. So if you tax China 4.2 on goods and services, under the radar that possibly can pay for their undocumented Chinese, the undocumented Asian government people that were here. And then they take people from out of projects that are indigenous or Hispanic or from Honduras, Guatemala, Nigeria. They do this, that people are in poverty, and they gave them welfare for so long. This is like, an ancestral curse. The United States government has given immigrants that have no documentation more rights with welfare for centuries here, because that's what we were founded on. We were founded on, the land of milk and honey and blah, blah, blah. But see, they didn't change the rules. They were getting too greedy. Now the average American like myself would not be able to get half of the things that they get. So instead of them saying you have to qualify or make it harder and do your proper paperwork to become a citizen, then they can pay taxes and all this, that, and the other, that would be good. No. You're going out to the fields and picking people from the fields if they're undocumented. You're going into people's homes, checking their paperwork. Doesn't that sound like a Sandra Bland situation? It's just changed its name to ICE. Doesn't that sound like a Floyd situation? They just changed it for ICE. All of the missing children. Doesn't that sound like Save the Children to you? Because if you're a U.S. citizen, and half of those children that are in these detention centers are U.S. citizens, and the ones that they do find that are U.S. citizens, do you know what they do to them? They go and they put them in a little ICE truck, and then their little ICE truck goes to the hotel. And then when that little ICE truck goes to the hotel, now these children are either sex trafficked or left for dead, because they have no one to petition for them, because they have no indigenous people in Mexico or whatever, because they've lived centuries out here. And half of their kin that can petition for them, they're locked up beside them. There are people living on top of one another during freaking COVID. If you're African American and this shit don't get you some type of way, I don't know, you heartless. You heartless. If you're Mexican, and I don't care if you've been locked up, I don't care if you were free, I don't care if you doing someone's lawn. If this doesn't make you fucking pissed off, then I don't know what is. Because see, God can only give us so many signs before it gets real out there. I mean, they snatching bitches up. The first warning was in Arizona when people didn't have their documentation. When people didn't have their documentation, y'all remember that? Especially people in the West Coast, they were snatching bitches up if they didn't have their birth certificate and ID, and they were just throwing them in jail. But then when they started getting Americans up in there that were from brown descent, then they had to stop. So now we have to revamp our plan, see? We have to figure out, how can we do it to where we don't get Americans too? Oh, let's disguise ourselves like farm workers. Because when we do the sweeps as a police officer, no one's gonna talk. But if I get someone that looks like them and talks to me, and then I can have a tally of all the ones that are illegal, sitting in that courtroom, hearing the test model of an attorney saying how their portfolio is going to look with the poverty level being fixed in McFarland, California. In McFarland, California, they are saying that this profit margin is going to look substantially great when we get GEO facilities opened and up and running. It will help poverty. It will help poverty in all nations in the U.S. Now they starting that shit in Saudi Arabia. It's everywhere. Forest fires and stuff. You don't got a house, let's put you in a cage. Because see, America has always been the forefront of everybody wants to be like us. Everybody wants to be like us. So now you have other motherfuckers that are implementing the same shit that we're doing to our own people. Because if we could do it to our own, what makes you think that all these other countries ain't gonna start doing it to us? They ain't gonna come with a freaking ship and put us all in cages. Have y'all ever thought about that? Have y'all ever thought that they're watching us go crazy right now? You don't love black people, you tell them to go to hell. You tell the people that are fighting against ICE, shut up you beans. I mean, Christian. Y'all supposed to be Christ-like. Y'all supposed to be one with God. I get it. Because we not light enough when you say save the children. When you say save the children, they gotta look a certain type of way. See, save the children don't just stop because it's in a suburban development. Save the children is for all God's children. I don't care if you Muslim, I don't care if you Buddhist, I don't care if you Sikh, I don't care if you Christian, I don't care if you Jehovah Witness, I don't care if you Catholic, hey, Mormon. We are all descendants from him. And if this is not touching you to say, damn, that is some jacked up stuff that I'm seeing, but you're not seeing the messages. You're not seeing the messages. All you're seeing is up, it's just one less. Up, it's just one less. You just spoon feed what social media wants to tell you. You want to just listen to what social media tells you. You just want to go and see what CNN tells you. They're not just locking up freaking Mexicans. I am on private freaking meetings, and there were a couple Nigerians on there, and gave them such a runaround because of COVID. And then they got this new game they play. It's called If They Catch COVID When We Transfer Them. If they catch COVID when we transfer them, we can relocate them to another facility because now they contracted COVID. So instead of them putting them in a hotel room where they're by themselves, they're going to stick them back inside a detention center where there are possibly other people that have COVID. This person does not get, like a prisoner, go to the infirmary and stays in a cell by themselves and they're quarantined. No, they have people living on top of one another like fucking rats. See, you know those signs that everybody showed you when Black Lives Matter was coming out? No niggers, no dogs, no spics. See, that's what they're showing you, what they think of you. They're showing you. They're literally displaying. They don't give a rat's ass if you're black. They don't give a rat's ass if you're brown. They don't give a rat's ass if you're fucking yellow. That's what they are telling you. So when I see people yell back at me some stupid stuff when I'm protesting my rights, they are ignorant. They are beneath me. And I will stand out there on that freaking corner until I at least get however many people God want me to get. Because I'm not going to sit here on my freaking couch, because all of y'all are lying to yourselves if you say, I'm not going to go out and protest because I don't want to catch COVID, but you still going to Target, you still going to Walmart, you still going to In-N-Out, you still going to McDonald's, you still going to KFC, you still, but it's on the patio. Okay, but while you walk into that patio, you going to use their bathroom, right? And when you go and use their bathroom, there could be 1,001 people that touch that freaking bathroom with COVID. That's being selfish. There are people in these cages that wish they could speak to their grandmother and talk about her cooking. There's people in those detention centers that wish they weren't getting raped. There's people in there that wish they could just be a kid. A child should not be put in a cage. A child should not be separated from their family. It is the same freaking thing they did to the slaves. Any rose by any other name is still a freaking rose, people. And just because it's not freaking screaming out at you with Bible scriptures, and Jesus is not here with sandals, or Allah's not here with sandals, or whatever, however his garb is, it doesn't mean that you don't. The reason why we have been in these institutions learning all of these things about God, and now that they're shut down, all of the worships are shut down, because he wants you to use in prayer, action. He wants you to get out there and make a change. He don't want you to just sit back at the wayside and say, oh, it's not me. That's not what turn the other cheek means. Turn the other cheek means if someone says something to you that is so fucking disgusting, you just walk the fuck away. But it doesn't mean that you walk out on his people when they need you. Black people need you. Mexican people need you. Indigenous people need you. But you sitting here just clicking and clucking and clicking and clucking and everything's starting to get a little bit normal. I see everybody starting to act a little bit normal because it's not hitting them no more. Everybody's sitting here just, oh, well, I have my papers. I don't have to worry about it. But think about how you got here. Unless you are Native freaking American and was born on this soil, that is a jacked up thing to slave ships. Yes, you know, there is a majority of black people that were free and had lands. But guess what? It's a very freaking slim chance that you were ancestors from a free slave. A very slim chance. Not saying it's not there, but a very slim chance. And the world is such a cluster right now that they don't care a hootenanny about nobody. And they're showing you day in, day out what they're all about. We can kill a brother on TV. They ain't gonna do nothing. Oh, they're doing riots. We don't care. They're doing riots or whatever, and blah blah this and that and the other. Well, I would protest, but I wouldn't riot. That is the most ridiculous freaking statement. If someone treated you the way that our ancestors were treated, you would burn a fucking Target too. And it's worse in some areas more than it is in some. That would infuriate me to have people just messing with me all the freaking time. All the freaking time. And then we try to explain to you for years how we felt, and you never understood it. But see, you know what? I'm gonna talk to all you little, your puttakey and puttakays that look white. I'm gonna talk to all y'all for a minute. Just because you can fucking pass doesn't mean that they ain't gonna put you in a goddamn cage either. This is some fucking shit. It is the most nastiest and most disgusting thing that I hear when I hear other Mexicans talking about their brothers and sisters. And they forget how their ancestors probably got over here. It was so long ago that they can't even fathom what their ancestors did to stay here. They have their own ancestral curse. So it behooves us to sit here on our butts and still Netflix and chill when the world is coming to an end, and not fight for the people that are voiceless. Little freaking babies stolen from out of their mother's hand. If you're a mother and you sitting here doing hashtag save the children, and you ain't out there on Stockdale and California about the children in the dang detention centers, then take that hashtag and shove it, because it means nothing. If you're gonna sit here and say you're gonna save all children, then that means the Mexican ones, the Nicaraguans, the Haitians, they have a freaking nasty test model going on, selling these people like modern day slavery. And it's sickening. It's sickening. Disgusting. Riddle me this. When all the indigenous people are gone, picking your organic apple, picking your organic alfalfa for your sandwich, how are you going to eat when all of them are incarcerated and in detention centers? They're going to open up 16 new detention centers here in California before the end of the year. And check it, they're not even going to waste their time with building them. They're just going to give them empty prisons to put them in. They're going to put these people in empty freaking prisons. You know, Alcatraz is very empty. It would not shock me at all if they started putting people in Alcatraz. How sick is that? When I watch sci-fi movies and usually see the ones when there's like Blade Runner, how in the year 2000 and the Butcher of Bakersfield and they're under the bridge and all the bums are sitting there and stuff, and that's like the underground network for people being normal. That's where we're headed. You're going to have a society of people growing up in a prison. You're going to have a generation of people, while your ancestors fought for your freedom, you're going to have, y'all sitting here getting all psyched about Juneteenth. Fuck Juneteenth. We got people there in prisons and detention centers that are our people, that are our ancestors. And whether they like us or not, they're still our ancestors, because when I did my DNA test, I have a lot of my ancestors that are up in there. I'm so mixed, it just don't make no sense. But still, everybody shouldn't just sit here and just wait on whatever you're waiting on. You don't have a church to go to because he wants you to be activated to there was someone that said that they was Jesus, y'all would be like the Romans and probably kill them, because you're so jacked up in your belief. You're so jacked up in your belief that if Jesus was on this earth right now, the way that y'all exhibited hating black people and giving excuses and saying he dropped the 20, you don't know, it could have been Jesus. No one knows. Just because you have a practice and someone is enlightened doesn't mean that they know God more than you. The divine light is inside of all of us. But the way that people are exhibiting their hate towards one another is nasty, disgusting. Jesus had so many disciples from all walks of life. Freaking Thomas was a drunk and a liar and a thief. But he still walked with Jesus. Jesus still allowed him to walk with him. And I know I might curse. I know I might say some crazy stuff. But you know what? I probably am more divine than you will ever be, because I want change. I want change out there. I don't want to sit here and be in this matrix and pretend that everything is honky-dory, when they were saying, what are you going to do when they start messing with you? That is a powerful freaking thing. When people from Black Lives Matter all around the world started saying, what are you going to do when they start messing with you? And now they're messing with Mexicans and indigenous people, Native Americans. They messing with everybody of brown descent. I have all those phone calls that I have had about those detention centers. I have not heard about one Canadian in the bunch. And I'm not trying to be funny. I have not heard one freaking Canadian at all. It just baffles me how people don't understand the ramifications of when there is something so crazy and beyond you that is happening in your backyard. If it grows like wildfire and you're already having problems with minorities in this country, what makes you think that they ain't gonna start taking black people and putting them in those detention centers just so they can? Who's to say that they can't make rules to fuck all of us of brown descent, yellow descent up? It's a scary thing. We can't protest in front of the prisons because you know why? They start beating them and stuff in there. We can't protest in front of the freaking prisons because they give them spoiled food out of spite. We can't protest in front of the prisons because someone might get raped, and it'll make it a harder time for innocent people, mind you, that never did a crime, but to want asylum, whatever, to get away from a dangerous spot. I hope that you never had to live in a place of danger and have to get away from it, and no one ever freaking helps you. That's like the person that broke their legs and there's two people walking and the other guy falls, and that makes it 3. The third person falls down and he breaks his leg. The other guy goes and says, hey, do you need a hand? And then tells the third one, can you go and get me help? And he crosses his arms and he says, but what about my legs? That if you save the fish, would you kill all of the seagulls, all of the seals? Would you slaughter all of the sharks? Would you? When you save the planet, you know, when you want to save the planet, would you kill all the people? Would you kill all the animals to save the forest? To save the trees? Would you? Would you literally go out your way and shoot someone because they were touching a tree because you're saving trees? Or would you educate them about the trees and how to live alongside the trees? Would you do that? America is a hateful place. It's a very hateful place right now. A lot of people are complacent. We're coming into an election year, so it's not getting any better. But I said this. when Trump was running for office. I went on a Facebook Live rant and told a lot of youngsters at the time to go vote, because if you don't vote, it's going to hurt us. Oh, it has nothing to do with me. I'm young. I'm this. So while you're sucking your ring pops and all your ring pops are sucked up, now you want to go and get something to, like, I don't know. I have no idea. You can't wrap your mind around it because you're like, what happened? What's this? Because voting is a very powerful thing. Voting is the fundamental of how we need to get out of this. We literally need to come together. I don't care what your political views are, but you know what I'm talking about. We need to come together because this is some crazy freaking stuff. You got Black Lives Matter. Now you have Save the Children. Now you have detention centers. I mean, Jesus Christ. I feel like it's 1960. It is, and then, oh, well, I can't support you because you're a spiritualist. You're a spiritualist, so I can't, you can't be a part of our group. We don't do spiritualism. God's a spirit. So are you shunning God? Because God is a spirit. When you pray, you're praying to a spirit. When someone says that they're spiritualist, it just means that I don't go into a freaking house of the Lord and have another man tell me about my God. A lot of people used to be in their quiet corner and read their Bible and talk to God, but we are so far removed from that. There are no many of those ladies on this earth. There are so many heathens. You can tell how people are divine because of how their voice has weight. How they can cultivate a crowd, how they talk to people, how they're making sense about all of the things that are going around us. So are you telling me that Gandhi is a heathen because he didn't believe in your blue-eyed God? Is he? Is Mother Teresa the spawn of Satan because she's not a Jehovah's Witness? There are some people that might not like Martin Luther King, if you think about that, because he wasn't of the faith or denomination. That's the most stupidest thing that I have ever heard. You don't want to talk to someone because they're a Seventh-day Adventist and you're a Pentecostal, but y'all still talking about God. You just interpret it in two different ways. That is so stupid. You're a First Baptist and this person's a Second Baptist. Do you know that just means that you were the first church that was a Baptist church that was built in that town, and that was the second one? Do you know that means y'all are still all Baptists? Dividing in your mind intoxicates the brain to formulate peace and harmony into the universe.